The Ghostbusters trap ghosts in a box. Stop using phones for 2 days to see most users are trapped in a box. Phone equals fear alone. And the person deep inside the phone is alone with their mechanical reflection or locked in a cell. I think the most creative line there is locked in a cell. And I can say this, I came up with everything else except for that. The locked in a cell part, that wasn't a revelation that, basically I got that information as a revelation, but guess what? Who gave it to me? I think it was Grok, AI. It's either Gemini or Grok. They're very fruitful, them two. They try and they bust through sometimes. And this is a good example of the AI was the one who pointed out that cell, the cell idea here, the human locked in a cell. But so I was like, okay, since that came from AI, let me step into basically I'm going to reverse engineer from that point. So instead of starting the story from where I am, I started from where AI is, and I look at it that way. So I came up with this cool story, bro. And before I even finished telling myself the story, I turned on the live stream because I was like, well, this is cool. And I was like, well, let me live stream before I think it through. Because if I think it completely through, I probably won't live stream. So the idea was, okay, I remember as a kid growing up, there wasn't any phones or anything like that. There wasn't any technology to play with, right? It's just me playing in nature, me and all my friends. In school, growing up, break time, we're outside playing in nature. So let's call that a world full of magic. Whereas, things happen and it's like the explanation of why or how is just like nobody cares. It's just happening. It's a magical world of amazing fun and joy and beauty. Playing in nature, right? Playing in nature, free as a child. No parents overlooking all that. All that, right? So start from there. And say that, okay, so at some point, growing up as a child now, you were taught right and wrong, good and bad, God and Satan, right? Those two sides. But at some point, because you want to dabble in the dark side, because every person has the right, to dabble in the dark side, even if it's just for a day. Someone might wake up one day and say, I've been following God my whole entire life. And I'm only 10 now, but still, what if I tried Satan for just for a day? I'm just gonna I'm gonna say, oh Lord Satan, I'm gonna praise Satan for a day. So there you go, right? So you do that, and basically you open the gate to a big punishment, just for doing it, right? So then here goes. Now this is where I'm reverse engineering now from looking at the point of AI of this statement locked in a cell, right? So let me go back to the foundation to say that, we're going off on a tangent. No, we're not, actually. Right? So here's the story goes. So then, therefore, the punishment becomes, I get sentence. I get a sentence, like a life sentence, as far as solitary confinement. Ooh, life sentence with a lot of solitary confinement, right? And so in order for me to live out my life sentence now, I'm in a prison, which is my perception of life. My perception of this sentence says, okay, we're going to change your perception of life, and it's going to be like you're living in hell. But that's your punishment because you want to get down with Satan for a little bit. So what I'm saying, it's not even a punishment. You're just going to see what this is, but it's really going to take the rest of your life to see it, right? It's like selling your soul. So basically, if you were someone who was good all years and years and years and years, and you never even considered the dark side, and one day you woke up and say, no, I'm gonna try it today. Right there, that's it. The gates open, and now, and actually, it's not a bad thing though, right? Because now you have both sides to work with, and over time you can manage that like riding a bicycle, basically. Deep breath. So okay. So the punishment is you get handed this device called a cell phone, right? And so you're in it now. You're locked in it, and that's your life, right? That's the life sentence. Like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, man. So that's what I saw as a reverse engineer from that statement about, so there's a life now that exists beyond the phone where there's nothing but magic. The same life of a child, basically, but now you're actually an adult and you're living with the same magic, right? But because, let's see now. Now, is that my life? Yeah, I guess so, right? So let's see now. We see. Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm the storyteller, right? So me being the storyteller means I get to see and experience either side, and you know, of course, I get to choose, basically, right? I get to choose, and for instance, the stories I hear about others who are going through rough things is a result of me not choosing that. So I'm gonna hear it as a story, obviously. I mean, it's got to exist as a balance, you know what I mean, to my life. All right, so hey.